what's really happening when you
Amen.
lift up the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Do you understand when you really, I'm talking to you who's back there now on Facebook. I'm talking to you right there that are struggling and dealing specifically with an issue in your mind. Do you understand that there is something intrinsically significant that happens when you begin to engage in a point of worship?
Amen.
Let me help somebody who doesn't understand. Let me say it this way. Does anybody remember that heated argument you got into? Does anybody remember that heated argument where it almost ended up in a fight? Okay, let's be honest. Let's talk about the one that did end up in a fight. Do you realize that it was the power of your words that got you into that altercation?
Amen. Amen.
How much more will the power of your praise get you out of it?
All right. Amen.
Yes.
How much more will you changing the words you use with the same energy? How much more? You who just ended up borrowing some money not too long ago. How much more will your mindset change do for you?
Amen. Amen.
I really love the Lord. The old songwriter said, I really love the Lord. He heard my cry. Good God. Yeah. Stay right there. I'm not going to be, look, you see right now, you see that clock? When it get close to a little bit before that 8, you stop me, all right? Revelation 2. I got a word for you this morning. Revelation 2. And I'm going to be reading between two versions, between the KJV and the Amplified Bible. But I want to go to Revelation 2, starting at the 2nd verse. You got that, say amen.
Amen.
I know your industry and your activity, labors and toil, and you keep playing, that's fine, that toil and trouble, and your patience and your endurance. Your patient endurance and how you cannot tolerate wicked men and have tested and critically appraised those who call themselves apostles and yet are not, and have found them to be impostors and liars. Now I'm skipping over to the 4th verse. But nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee, because thou have left thy first love.
Amen.
Okay, let me go back to the Amplified and read this way. I have this one charge to make against you, that you have left and abandoned the love that you had at first. You've deserted me, your first love. I want you to look at your neighbor and say, neighbor.
Neighbor.
The topic of today's discussion is, have I cheated on God? You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. I have to do my best to help you and to get you moving in a positive, because, but Gary, don't move too far, too fast, because we won't be here long. I just got a few things I need to share. There's a lot of things going on in our community. There's, like I said, pastors are leaving churches are splitting, ministries are falling. 3,000 pastors every month will end up quitting the ministry. There's a lot going on. And so it makes me ask a few questions, such as, Brother Rufus, the question I would ask is, what were they committed to?
Amen.
I think, and I'm reflecting on my 2 years here, and I remember the grandiose, luxurious time we had when we first started this journey together. Oh, it was such a wonderful time. Wasn't it, Anita?
Oh, wonderful.
Just kicks and giggles. But I remember all of those experiences, and then I think about every day. One preacher said when I was going through that time, he said, if you don't find a reason to quit every day, you're not doing something right.
All right.
And I thought about all the issues that I experienced, and I said, well, what makes me remain? And it's simply because I'm rooted in something that can't be plucked up.
Amen. Amen.
Let me really help you, because many of us, Sister Cheryl, don't understand why we come to this place called Faith Christian.
Amen.
Many of us really don't understand the reason why we walk into a church, simply because there is something we've come to get to give us hope to get through every other day. There's something, come on, let's be honest. We don't pay Don enough for him to show up every Sunday. And watch this, let's be honest. We don't treat him well enough to keep coming every Sunday.
All right.
We love you, Mr. Moore. Who in the game?
Our ushers, do we love on them and show them the appreciation that just makes them feel? Don't say no so quickly. Do we even stop and say, if it wasn't for you getting that tissue for me or helping me to my seat, my life wouldn't, I wouldn't have been able to enjoy the experience. But we don't realize what it takes. Are we so grateful that we get all these things that you don't see done administratively with our church secretary? How many times do you tell her thank you? Not enough. How many times do you love on Fallon for taking care of your children that you don't want to fool with?
Amen. Amen.
What I'm trying to get you to realize, the actual picture, there are many reasons why we should say, I'm done. There are many reasons why we should give up if we were blind to the spiritual realities around us. But that's the reason why every day I am pressing and pushing for our leaders and those who are part of our ministry to stay motivated and understand that it is not about the people that you serve.
Amen.
But it's about the God who commissioned you.
Amen.
But if you fail to realize that, every other day you are going to be on the verge of giving up or taking cyanide. Lord, I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I didn't realize it until I got into ministry, just about in this level of ministry just 2 years ago. I didn't understand it. Sister Kiara, when Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. But you know what the reality was of that particular context and text, if I can exegete it just for a moment? The reason why he could say forgive them because they know not what they do, Don, it was simple because he understood exactly what he did and what they did and who he was doing it for.
Amen.
All right.
I remember hearing somebody say this in a church somewhere. It wasn't here, so don't look around. They said, I'm not going to give money until they start doing this. I'm going to stop showing up until they fix this. And I said, well, go ahead and just keep shooting yourself in the foot.
All right.
All that's going to be affected is your money in your house and your own life. But we have become so disconnected from the very purpose and why we exist and the very purpose and the power in the Lord's church. That's why this particular text is important to us, because if you look at that second verse, he says, look, I know your industry. I know your activities. I know that you are a faithful usher. I know you are a faithful choir member. I know that you are a part of all the attributes of the church. However, one thing has become true. You have forgotten why you do it and who you do it for.
Amen.
That's the issue. That's the reason why when you start looking at your brothers and sisters in the church and you start looking at them cockeyed and side-eyed, it's simply because you start looking at them to give you your reward and not God.
All right.
Amen.
Got the nerve to look around at somebody saying, well, listen, they walked over me, had the nerve not to speak to me today. She done came into church and didn't even want to hug me with her old little ugly dress on anyway. Ain't got no business acting that way in God's house, and you the one bringing up all the foolishness.
All right.
Amen, Mike.
Amen.
We done made the church to be something to please our flesh and not enhance our spirit.
Amen.
We done made this thing to be something just to feel good, not realizing that the reason why your Monday is crappy, your Tuesday is hellish, is because your Sunday is non-existent.
Amen.
You know what? There's an old song that says, I got a river of life flowing out of me. It makes the lame to walk and the blind to see. Opens up the prison door, sets the captives free. I got a river of life flowing out of me. There used to be a day when, we would come into church and, maybe the preaching one we wanted to be, or the singing one where we wanted to be, or the playing one where we wanted to be, or people just mean. We realized that I got a river that can change all of that on the inside of me.
Amen.
There used to be a day when the old church mothers would sit there on the back row. Brother Doug, and they would sit there, and when they would see things out of order, they would just wrap their arms like this and get the rocking. See, y'all know about that. But then they would fool around and just start rocking, Brother Gary. Why? Because they saw something was out of order, and they realized that there was nothing in the natural they could do.
Amen.
I'm talking to somebody's situation right now. You realize you looked at your account and you looked at that bill, and you realize there ain't nothing natural you can do.
All right.
Okay, let me help you. You looked at the way she treated you, and you thought about the way you treated her, and you realize there ain't nothing in the natural you can do.
Amen.
Like it's just me and you in here today. But you realize if you fool around and just go and wrap yourself real quick. Just go and wrap yourself. Say, look, I know there's a problem, so let me get the rocking. And saying, Lord Jesus, I know that you are able to move everything. God, I understand that there are issues going on in my life. My child ain't acting right, but God, I can send a prayer that will resound in heaven and fool around and end up in the place where they are naturally. And something's going to shift in that. But we have gotten to a place where we started doubting that God is actually still working.
Amen.
Some of y'all right now on the verge of having a heart attack and a stroke because you got to go to work tomorrow. Start rocking. Start rocking. Jesus, and watch this. And you know what he's going to do? The first thing he'll tell you, ain't nothing wrong with that job because you prayed for it.
All right.
But he said, is everything wrong with your opinion?
All right.
But see, he was saying, I know your industry. I know your works. I know how you do. I know you know how to fake the funk.
All right.
But the problem is, your love, the reason why you do it, there's something wrong. There's something off with your heart. That's the only reason why you're having these troubles. The reason why you're having these frustrations. You can get a phone call from wherever your family member is, going through whatever type of hell they're going through, and it shouldn't bother you because you know prayer can touch all four corners of this earth.
Amen.
But that's the reason why we try to encourage folks. I tell, listen, you want to know how strong our church is, Elder? Our church is as strong as our 8 o'clock prayer.
Amen.
And you know, when I look through the sea of people that come in prayer at 8 o'clock in the morning, I count about 3 people. And I'm one of them. My wife's another. And the person leading prayer is the other person. But we all claim that God, we need you. Our church needs you. Our children need you. Our family needs you. But yet when the place where change is available, we don't see you.
Amen.
Now I know what you're saying. I hear you already. Y'all speaking so loud in your thoughts. I can pray and help. God can meet me right there. But the problem with that is very simple. The reason why it's easier for you to stay home is because what's there is more common or acquainted to you. You're more acquainted with that. You're more acquainted with your big screen TV. You're more acquainted with your food that you got to have breakfast before you see Jesus. All of those things, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all his righteousness, and then all these things. You hoping that your job call you for some overtime. See, even she agreed. But see, the problem is simple. If our home, Elder we live, our home was saturated with prayer, if our home was saturated as a sanctuary to God, it would be so easy to hear that God was moving over here because we want to be a part of whatever God is doing. But because our homes have been allowed to be filled with confusion and frustration, and we've learned to just accept it. But until we can come to the place where we say, no, as for me and my house, it shall serve the Lord, and I will not. Amen. I will not waver. I will not compromise. Why is that important to you? Because there are people right now in your life that have stage 4 cancer. Amen. And you ain't got no hope to help them because you ain't got a prayer life.
All right.
There are folks right now on the verge of killing themselves, and you ain't going to be no help to them. Why? Because you don't understand the importance of the power of prayer. How do you know that, preacher? Because your life don't reflect it.
Amen.
The moment you get a bad letter, the first thing you do is call your girlfriend on the phone and say, child, they about to come get my stuff. But the one with a prayer life would say, Jesus, you know what just came in my mail. And I know that you're able to move and fix this thing. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to push into this place called prayer. And I'm going to stay here until you move it. Because I know, God, either you're going to watch this, you're going to give me peace, or you're going to fix it, or God, you got something better for me. Either way, not my will.
God be done. Amen.
Prayer has a way of changing your perspective. Maybe all you need to do is fool around and talk to God a little bit. The old folks used to say, had a little talk with Jesus. Tell him all about your troubles. He'll do what?
Hear our earnest.
And then he'll answer by and by. Why is that important? Because they realize that sometimes I didn't need Jesus to fix it. I need to get his perspective on the situation because he's at work whether I like it or not.
Amen. Amen.
Oh, I wish I had a few people in this church that just needed God to do something. I mean, just a few folk who realize that I can rock and fix more than I can complaining.
Amen.
I can rock and fix more than I can gossiping about it. I can rock and fix more than trying to send somebody to go see about it. All I got to do is fool around and go in prayer.
Amen. Amen.
But do we believe that? Do you believe that? It's funny, the last part, he says, I had this one accusation against you. You have all the form now. And that's not everybody who I'm just talking about, but there are some people who come faithfully to church. There are some people that come faithfully to Bible study, come faithfully to Sunday school, come faithfully to prayer. They do all those things, Brother John. But the one thing they cannot say, and you know the reason why I really believe that song becomes so convicting in our church, because maybe our fire and our passion for the love of the Lord has gone down. And so whenever you're singing the song, we are faced with the reality that in honesty, we really can't sing that song. Because I would be lying. I can't say I really love the Lord. I can say I really love my house. I really love my car. That's the reason why I work so many hours for it. I really love my job. That's the reason why I do all I can. I really love my family. That's why I try to, every time they say something, family first. But Jesus, well, he's more like my sugar daddy. He's my part-time lover. He's the one that I give him a little love, a little praise, and he gets something from me. I know there ain't nobody in this room. Because I know you are faithful in your love for God. Why am I saying that to you? Because I want you to experience the fullness of God's blessing. Come on now. Stop acting like you got a child restraining order against God trying to give him weekend visits.
All right.
Give him access to your whole life. And your whole life will be changed. I know when we lift up that call, does anybody want to give their life to the Lord? I know you and your boldness saying, I've already done that. But the question is, did you run out? Is that relationship on backlog? When's the last time you've even seen him? When's the last time you talked to him? When's the last time you spent? Because I promise you, if you just talk to him about your troubles, you'll find this thing that you don't believe in called peace in your life.
Amen.
There is peace. Trust me, I ain't doing this thing. I got nothing else better to do on a Sunday morning. Child, I got a whole lot I can be doing on Sunday morning. Look, we in the middle right now. Yeah, there you go. Start playing now. I got a whole stuff I can be doing. We opening a youth foster home. I'm helping the Early Shoulders Foundation open a youth foster home. So we're trying to help kids in the street. We're working with the grocery store so we can bring an organic grocery store to the south side of our community. We're also trying to figure out all these other initiatives. I got stuff I can be doing, but I believe that all of that will fall through unless I have a relationship with God intact and active, because I can't do nothing, the Bible says, unless he watches, unless he builds. All I'm doing is in vain. None of it will matter. Nothing will change unless my God moves for me.